leave the relationship if it's toxic so that you do not leave the earth. Sometimes I think that we use our platforms for so many things. Like, we use our platforms to share our life, we use our platforms to, talk to people, connect. But for me, every single time that I think about what I want to use my platform for and how I want to use my platform is always to speak to women, especially women. Now, I only talk when I feel triggered to talk, because you can only talk when you feel passionate enough to talk about something. You know what I mean? And I feel like I always do videos and I'm able to talk about something in the heat of the moment of when I feel it, because there's so much to say. Now, in the past 2 weeks, I don't even know if it's up to 2 weeks. I can even say in the past 1 week, there has been three stories, which is only the stories that we see online or in the media. This is not just stories in general. This is like big stories of women getting by their husband or by their spouse or by somebody they were dating. And at first the conversation was just one person. I remember the first article I saw was the Ashley Janae. I think her name is Ashley Janae. She's an influencer. She went on safari with her fiance because they got married on the same day as they were in the safari. And the next day they found her in the hotel room. That was the first story I was still very especially when somebody who is online, that kind of thing happens, is so scary. It's so scary. And I remember just seeing the story and, so many people's opinions about it and how, there was no way she could have done it herself because there were speculations that she did it herself. I don't think she did it herself. Hey, we really don't know what happened in the situation. I will say that I even don't know what happened in the situation. That was the first one I saw. The second one I saw actually is something that I saw since last year, but the person has already finally got thrown into jail this year, which is the D4D and Celeste situation. Basically, it was a big musician who had a relationship with a 14-year-old child. And I have actually listened to one of his songs that came out, I think maybe 2023 or so. And I'm going to put links of all the articles that I'm citing so that way it's not like I'm just talking from air. I'm going to put the links in the description in case you want to read about the cases and everything like that so that you know where I'm coming from. I didn't want to put any video footage or anything because most of the footage and all that is just not something I even want to relive because the thing is even upsetting me as I'm talking. So she was 14. He sang songs that blatantly basically said that, yes, I did it. And it was not until a whole year after TikTok has already solved it that all of a sudden now they're finally saying, yes, he's going to jail. That's the second one. Now, the third one I heard about 2 days ago. And it was a man who basically just removed his whole family, the mother and the children as well. And I saw that one and at this point, I'm tired. At this point, I'm tired of reading stories like this. Because those other ones, no children were involved. This one, children are involved, which even makes me more upset. Because it's just kind of like, what are we doing? I also saw Fumi Desalu-Vold just do a video on the case that I'm talking about, the last case that I'm talking about the husband and the children. So I'll link her video down below also so that you guys can watch her video and see what she says about it. But for me, y'all need to leave. And when I say y'all, I mean women. I mean us. I'm not even talking from just me. I'm talking from everyone before me, everyone who stays because they feel like they have to. Leave. At any signs, I think that women as a whole, or I will speak for myself as an African woman. And the reason why I speak for myself a lot is because I'm only sharing based on my experiences and experiences that others may have had. We do not have to wait until it gets horrible for us to leave. You do not have to wait until it becomes a tumultuous situation that you have to leave. And you guys already know part of my story. I talk about it all the time. I don't want to rehash it, but I'm only rehashing it in the context of this video to make it known that I am not separating myself from the women who did not leave. In fact, if anything, I am coming from a past version of myself who wishes she had heard something like this. I was married for 3 years. I dated him for 7. There were signs the whole time. I have several videos on my channel. I'm not going to go into it again. I think as women, we have been indoctrinated into the fact that marriage is more important than our sense of self. And our sense of self comes from the fact that if we're married or not, or if we're with a man or not. This is not the 1980s anymore. Our sense of self no longer comes from men. Our sense of self comes from ourselves. Our sense of self comes from not even our accomplishments, but our ability to exist now without feeling as though you need another person to validate your existence. I cannot tell you how many, even friends I've had, that we knew that it was a toxic situation, but sometimes because it's not physical and because it's not like a physical altercation, you just automatically assume that it's okay for you to stay. It's not okay, because what tends to happen is abuse doesn't just start out of nowhere. Abuse comes from a person who has been through things that they are unable to process. And sometimes they're not able to process it. Now they're processing it through you as the woman. And they're projecting onto you certain situations that they went through that they weren't able to process. And now you think you need to help a whole other grown adult. You do not. We are all responsible for our emotions, and we're all responsible for the things that happen in our own lives. And I think because we are so used to, as women, being in that servitude or in that place of trying to make sure or connect the family structure or paint a picture of perfection, we stay in places that we are no longer wanted in for way too long. When in actual fact, what we're not realizing is it could cost you your life. You can literally have such a beautiful life. You can have so many things going for you, and making the wrong decision or making a decision that you think that because at least you have a relationship or you're married is safe or is you're able to thrive in. I genuinely don't know if I would be here today if I'd stayed for a longer period of time, because I do always believe that things sometimes do not get better. Sometimes they get worse. And it's scary to leave, especially when there's a part of you that might feel ashamed. And I feel like shame is something that does not necessarily have to define you as a person. There's no need to be ashamed if you know that you're saving your life. There's no need, nobody is in your life with you. Everybody has a compartment of life that they live in. You know what's going on inside your home. When you go outside, yes, it might have a perfect picture, there might be a thing that people see that they're like, this person is perfect, everything is living life, but you know what you're dealing with in your home. And as women, we are the ones that are in charge of our mental health. We are the ones that are in charge of our physical health. There are far too many women even having autoimmune diseases that are caused by the men that they're with. Or even, I just found out recently that a lot of things that happen in pregnancy are caused by the man you're with. A lot of times, I get it. I am not, and I have said this before because I don't want to come across as though I'm somebody who is preaching for you not to be married or in a relationship. You should be. But it should not define your life or be one of the overarching goals that you lose yourself in pursuit of a relationship. I'm not gonna lie. If I wanted to get married again, I could have gotten married 2 years ago. In fact, I could have gotten married a year ago. It's very easy to get and be married. Actually, I've actually started realizing it's very easy. Because in a weird way, it's easy to leave yourself and bend to somebody's will in order for them to feel like you're worthy being married to. But you're going to give up a part of yourself in the process if you do not work on things that you know that you're supposed to be working on in yourself and think that another person is going to fix it or another person is going to help with that. I genuinely think healthy relationships are between two people who have dealt with their trauma. Even you might not, nobody has a, oh my God, I've dealt with my trauma, I'm healed now moment, but at least to a point where you can have civil discussions instead of arguments, and your value system and the way you move together is aligned. If you are not aligned with somebody, if you and the person are arguing about things that you have strong convictions on, do not think it will change. It will not change. They will not change their stance. If anything with men, they will double down. I saw a video on TikTok that was like, women need to be more selfish because men are selfish. And I absolutely agree. You tell a man, most of the time, men put themselves first. That's number one. Men will, if it's anything that I've learned by dating and being around men, they will always put themselves first. They'll put their career first. They'll put their needs first. And women, because we're used to being nurturers, we sometimes put our needs last. No, put your needs first. Selfishness as a woman is not a bad thing. Sometimes you do need to be a little bit selfish. Sometimes you do need to say no to that guy that's been bothering you in your DMs for 2 years and just go about it. Sometimes you do need to be like, no, I'm not going to do that thing because I don't feel like. Women are not in charge of taking care of every single person in our lives. And sometimes, depending on the type of system you have going for you, who is taking care of you? Except yourself. So please understand that it is not up to you to change a man, because a lot of times it's impossible. You cannot change another person if they do not want to change. Two people who come together to be in a relationship or even be around each other, most of the time you already know the attributes of that person. Don't think that because you are now in a relationship with them or you're talking to them, you are special. Or yes, we are all special. However, you're not so special that you're going to change a man. If a man tells you that somebody he has dated before or somebody he has been with before was crazy or something happened and you just assume that it's not going to happen to you, it's a lie. It's going to happen to you. There's so many precursors towards how they treat you or how you will know that they will treat you based off of how they treat other people. A man's character is always going to be determined by how he treats everybody. If he's mean to a waitress, don't think that, oh, it's just a waitress. That's inside his fundamental DNA. If he's mean to a child, or his child, if he's mean to the person, anything that you see that is a precursor, take note of it. Because at the end of the day, I do not like the fact that that's what our world has become. Just men being in relationships, and because you're comfortable, that's it. We have lost another woman. It's so disheartening. It's so disheartening. And I understand social media has given us a very weird stance or weird view of the world. It has made us feel as though there is a social hierarchy between women who are unmarried and women who are married in relationships. You know, there's a whole badge of honor. There's this TikTok video of this girl. She was going around, you know, she had a ring and she was like, oh my goodness, they told me not to wash his clothes. They told me not to do this. They told me not to do that. And now I have a ring. I keep saying it. It's easy to get married. But who are you getting married to? It's easy to be in a relationship. But who are you in a relationship with? I am not coming from a bitter place. I'm not coming from a place of, I do not like men. I'm never going to be in a relationship. I'm never going to be married. I'm coming from a place of, I've seen enough to understand that sometimes it's okay to be alone if you're safe and you are safe in yourself and you are in a place where when you do meet somebody, it's not from a place of desperation. It's a place, it comes from a place of, you can see clearly because you've been around yourself for so long to understand your value system. And it's easy for you to identify another person whose value system does not entirely merge with yours. You know, I don't think singleness is a curse, you know, and I wish that a version of myself had known that in my teens or even in my 20s, that singleness was not a curse. That, to be honest, being single is the one thing as a woman that you should cherish the most. You know, this part of my life has been the most eye-opening part of my life. And it has been because I've been alone so much more than before. I'm able to form so many more opinions and understand where I stand on certain things to a point where I'm building a fortress around myself. And not that that fortress is not able to be penetrable by other people, friends, or even relationships, but it's a fortress that has made me finally have standards when I didn't have standards. Having standards as a woman is always going to have you in a lane of not being in a relationship because it's easy for you to spot out things that you do not want, and that's okay. It's better for you to be single than for you to not be on this earth anymore. That's the truth. It can never be that serious. And if you are feeling alone and you're feeling like you need another person to complete you, or you need a relationship to feel like, relationships are cute. I love the hand holding. I love the cuddles. I love all of that. But once you get okay with being by yourself, you start to realize that those things are optional. They're not things that you necessarily need. My friends give me hugs. My friends satisfy me emotionally in a way that romantic relationships definitely have a difference, but it's not as though I'm lacking anything anymore to a point where I feel like I need this romantic relationship to validate my existence as a woman. And it takes a lot to get to this place because it's not a place that I got to easily. And I'm still human. I'm still going to make a mistake. I'm still going to date people who I, probably rehash wounds in me that I didn't know existed, because that's what relationships are for. But I know that if I see any signs of things that are in future going to detriment me or my life or now my children's life, it's not possible for me to just keep going on turning a blind eye to it. If I am talking to somebody who I see their parents have a past of violence, or somebody around them has a past of violence that they support, do not think that they're just going to just float around and not be that person. Birds of the same feather flock together. They say that because people you look around and your friends, y'all all have the same value system, whether you like to admit it or not. And if you're around a friend, for example, if a man is around another man who cheats, whether you like to say, oh yeah, he's special, he's different, at some point, the man who cheats is going to tell the other man who doesn't cheat that, hey, it's not that deep. And he going to think it's not that deep, and that's it. He cheating. And it might not necessarily be in his nature, but it's done. The same way as going above to talk about the men that actually end up removing their wives from existence, it's the same thing. We don't know what's happening in the house. He's beating you or he's laying his hands on you, and you're just assuming that it's because he's angry. Anger is what ends lives. And that's really what it is, because it's a moment or it's heat of passion that next thing you know, oh my God, oops, she hit her head on the table. Oops, my goodness, I didn't expect that to happen. She flew over the balcony. Things like that. And I mean, it's not as like simple like that, but I'm just giving like examples. Like, I get it. It's scary. It's scary to leave, a place you've always known. Oh, you've been with this person for so long. Oh, what will people say? It doesn't matter what people will say. It matters if you're still here. It does not matter. People will talk, but at the end of the day, when you know you have peace in your life, it's better than just for people staying in a thing that no longer serves you or your mental health. It's very important for you to make a decision for your future self. Do you want to be here or do you not want to be here? It's such a scary thing every time I think about it. And that's why in this video, I usually am a very like laughy, jokey person, but this is not a joke. This is not a joke. It's not a joke. I don't, even if it's only one person who this video touches and it's like, okay, cool, I've heard what she has to say and I genuinely think that it's time for me to leave. I'm cool with that, because a lot of times we look at situations and we just think it's not that deep when it is. People are getting married every day and people are getting in relationships that they know they're not supposed to, just for certain situations. It's not, no matter how old you are, no matter how many people say the clock is ticking, it's okay for you to have standards. It's okay for you to not be in situations you're not meant to be in. Nobody's living your life aside from you. Okay? I think that's where I'm going to end this video, because I don't have anything else to say. Leave the relationship if it's toxic, so that you do not leave the earth. Okay? All right. That is it. That is all. Please leave your comments down below. Any other advice you can give to the women who may watch this video would be very much appreciated. I will have another video on Thursday that is probably a little less like this, but I genuinely believe that if it's anything that triggers me, or I feel like I have the pang to talk about, I will, because I always feel like it's important to not only like have fun and spread information, but also to talk to the younger generation. Like, I'm in my 30s now, and there's so many things I've learned and so many things I have to learn. And I would just much rather talk about things that I have learned, so that way I can help another woman or another woman who might be going through situations that she doesn't know if she can get out of, because we are all here for each other. All of us as women, we're here for each other, and we have a responsibility to protect each other. We have a responsibility to support each other. And for me, having a platform, and I'm very grateful I have a platform, I'm always going to support, protect, and advise women to be able to do things that they thought that they would never be able to do, in hopes of them being their better selves. Okay, that's all.